Welcome to Great Online Training. Myself Nikita, and today we're going to discuss about human anatomy and physiology. Okay, so why it is important to learn anatomy and physiology? You can get each and everything in your book also, but as this is CPC examination is depend on time management. You have to manage your time. You have to remember most of the things so that you no need to turn the pages while you are giving examination. And even though whenever you start your working as a medical coder, at that time also you have to manage your time because these jobs are productivity based job. If you go and search for each and every anatomy term, medical terminology, each and everything, then it will waste your time. That's why you need good knowledge of human anatomy and physiology. So let's see what are the topics we'll go over in this class. So first we'll see introduction of human anatomy. Then we'll start with circulatory system. I'll try to cover most of the important points in this session. But apart from that, also you need some more knowledge. So try to expand your knowledge about human anatomy. And this is important points which I have included in this session. Okay. So the next is respiratory system, digestive system, nervous system, endocrine system, reproductive system, urinary system, respiratory system, musculoskeletal system, and then we'll see universal terms for anatomic positions and planes, then body cavities, quadrants and regions of the abdomen, and lastly we'll see few question and answers. Okay, so let's get started. First we'll see introduction. So this is our human body, and these are few important organs like brain, lungs, spleen, intestine, bladder, kidney, stomach, liver. Okay. Knowing basic human anatomy is a fundamental part of being successful medical coder. Knowledge of basic medical terminology and human anatomy helps you assign a more accurate diagnosis code. It's also very important for assigning procedure codes which are specific to certain parts of the body in many cases. That's why human anatomy knowledge is very, very important for medical code. Obviously, we have to read patient's health report. So we must understand each and every term. So medical coders need to understand how each organ within a particular body system works, how disease or illness affects the system, and why the treatment was necessary. The anatomy of the human body is made up of a number of different systems of organs that work together to perform more complex bodily functions. Right? First, we'll see the circulatory system. Can you see slides?
Yes, Nikita. Okay.
So, first, we'll see circulatory system because this is very, very important. And even though if you go for any interview of medical coding, this is the common question. Explain how many organ systems are present in our body, human body, or explain any one body system in detail. So, circulatory system is very easy to explain. There are two parts of this system. The cardiovascular system, it is composed of the heart, blood vessels, and blood. Heart, blood vessels, and blood composed of cardiovascular system. The other part is the lymphatic system. It is made up of the lymph nodes, lymphatic vessels. Lymphatic vessels are those vessels which carry lymph fluid. Okay, the thymus. The thymus is the gland located in the chest that helps produce T cells, which are a type of white blood cells, and spleen as well as the other parts. On human anatomy, you will get direct question. They can ask directly where is the location of thymus, or they give this line and ask which is this organ. So this is scoring part human anatomy is. So make sure that we'll learn all these things. Functions of the circulatory system: provide a means of transportation for nutrients, water, oxygen, hormones, and body salts to and waste from the cells of the body. So it's provide body salts to the body and take away waste from the cells of the body. And it is also serve a protective role by dispatching specialized defensive cells through the lymphatic system. Okay, so these are the functions of circulatory system. In this you can see working how our heart is working. Okay, at least you are explain this. This is very good diagram. Okay, there are two types of circulation: pulmonary circulations. Pulmonary circulation begins with the right side of the heart. Okay, this is the right side of the heart where pulmonary circulation occurs, sending blood to the lungs to absorb oxygen, sending blood to the lungs to absorb oxygen. From here, it goes to the lungs. From right ventricle via pulmonary artery. It goes to the deoxygenated blood goes to the lungs to absorb oxygen and to release carbon dioxide. Whereas systemic circulation carries blood from the heart to the cells of the body, where nutrients and waste exchange takes place. So, systemic circulation happens in left side of the heart, where oxygenated blood uh, oxygenated blood goes from heart to the different parts of different cells of body via. I'll explain this diagram first. So our heart made up of four chambers. Upper chambers are called atrium, lower chambers are called ventricles. Okay, and so we have four chambers: right atrium, left atrium, which are at the upper side, and right ventricle and left ventricle, which are at the lower side. Okay, then right atrium receives deoxygenated blood from superior vena cava. Okay, superior vena cava collect blood from upper part of the body, whereas inferior vena cava collect blood, deoxygenated blood from lower and middle part of the body. Okay, and then that blood goes into the right ventricle. Deoxygenated blood goes into the right ventricle via tricuspid wall. So tricuspid wall present between right atrium and right ventricle. Then via pulmonary artery, okay, via pulmonary artery, that deoxygenated blood goes to the lungs. So pulmonary artery is the only one artery which carries deoxygenated blood from heart lungs. So this is exception of artery in our body. Other arteries carry oxygenated blood, whereas pulmonary artery is the only one artery which carry deoxygenated blood. This is also common question. Okay, please make a note of it. That pulmonary artery is the only one artery which carry deoxygenated blood. Okay, whenever you can see some exception, that is important. Okay, mostly
Yeah.
yeah, you will get question on that. Then that deoxygenate lungs absorb oxygen and release carbon dioxide and return that oxygenated blood to the heart via pulmonary veins. So again, pulmonary veins are the only veins in our body which carry oxygenated blood. Other veins carry deoxygenated. So this is also important. Pulmonary artery is the only one artery which carry deoxygenated blood, whereas pulmonary vein is the only one vein which carry oxygenated blood. Then this oxygenated blood comes into the left atrium and via bicuspid wall or mitral wall. This wall is called bicuspid wall or mitral wall. Okay, this is also one question. Another name of bicuspid wall or vice versa. Another name of. So it present between left atrium and left ventricle. So that oxygenated blood comes into the left ventricle and then this left ventricle pumps blood for whole body parts. Okay, and that oxygenated blood goes into the each and every part of the body via the aorta is the biggest artery in our body. Aorta is the biggest artery in our body and left ventricle has thick wall as it has to pump blood for whole body. So this is all about circulatory system. These are some important points I have included here. At least you must have this much knowledge. Clear? Any doubt?
Yeah, no doubts. It's
Okay.
clear.
So next system is respiratory system. These are the units of the respiratory systems: pharynx, trachea, bronchus, lungs, diaphragm, okay, nasal cavity, nostril, oral cavity, larynx. Just a minute. Okay. So we have, in case of lungs, we have right side and left side. Right? On the left side, we have two lobes, and right side, we have three lobes. This is also common. Right side consists three lobes, and left side lung consists two lobes. The respiratory system provides oxygen to all cells of the body by performing gas exchanges between air and blood gases. It is made up of the nose, trachea, lungs, and bronchi. Bronchi is the main passages of the trachea that leads to the lungs. Okay, this is bronchi. Main passage of trachea leads to the lungs. The functions: the respiratory system has many functions. Besides helping you inhale means breathe in, and exhale means breathe out. It also allows you to talk and to smell, warms air to match your body temperature, and moistures it to the humidity level your body needs. Then it also delivers oxygen to the cells in your body, removes waste gases including carbon dioxide from the body when you exhale, and protect your airways from harmful substances and irritants. This is working of the respiratory system. Okay. What is functional unit of the respiratory system?
Postal unit.
Functional unit.
Sorry.
Functional
Lungs?
unit of respiratory system, or you can say lungs.
Yeah. Alveolar. Lungs.
Yeah, alveoli.
Yeah.
This is also common question when I ask in CPC.
Yeah. I have little bit idea about this because I read zoology only this long back.
You're from pharmaco background,
Yeah, pharma background. Yes.
so you must be aware about.
Yes, I have.
Whoever from science background, he or she must be aware about human anatomy.
Yes.
But
Yeah, I have idea about human
points
anatomy.
regarding CPC. That's why
Yes, yes.
my job is to explain it. Okay. So
Yeah, that's fine.
yeah, every few seconds with each inhalation, air fills in alveoli in a process called diffusion. Okay, diffusion. Oxygen moves from the alveoli to the blood through the alveolar walls. Okay, this oxygen-rich blood then flows back to the heart, which pumps it through the arteries of oxygen-hungry tissues throughout the body. Carbon dioxide made by the cells as they do their work moves out the cells into the plasma of the body. Blood rich in carbon dioxide then returns to the heart via the veins. When from heart, this blood is pumped to the lungs, and where carbon dioxide passed into the alveoli to be exhaled. Our coronavirus, you know about coronavirus, attacked here. Because of that,
Okay.
gaseous exchange is not possible, and that's why that patient needs ventilation. Okay. Attacks here on this wall. The digestive system, these are the parts of digestive system: liver, stomach, pancreas, then colon, anal canal, rectum, appendix, and gallbladder. The digestive system converts food into nutrients that the body can use. The GI tract, means also known as alimentary canal, consists of the oral cavity, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and anal canal. So, anal canal or GI tract is the series of hollow organs. Okay, and other organs present in the digestive system are called accessory organs. The accessory organs include teeth, tongue, glandular organs such as salivary gland, liver, gallbladder, and pancreas. Organs of the body system and their functions: mouth. Mouth contains structures that start digestion that is teeth, which helps in chopping the food. Salivary glands secrete saliva that contains enzymes that start chemical digestion of sugar and fats. Then tongue, which detects taste, pushes bolus towards the pharynx. Next, pharynx. Pharynx conducts the food to the esophagus. Esophagus is the muscular tube that conducts the bolus to the stomach. It has upper sphincter which opens with swallow reflex and allow the bolus to enter the esophagus. And the lower sphincter controls emptying of the esophagus content to the stomach. Then stomach's function is to secretion of gastric acid, hydrochloric acid plus sodium chloride plus Pepsi. Gastric acid is made up of hydrochloric acid plus sodium chloride and Pepsi that digests protein and converts bolus back to chyme. Okay? And the parts of the stomach are cardia, where content of the esophagus empties into stomach. Then the next part is fundus, which is upper curved part, and body is the main central region, and pylorus, which empties the chyme into the duodenum. This is also common question, parts of stomach. So the stomach has 4 parts: cardia, fundus, body, and pylorus. Then spleen. Spleen breaks down the erythrocytes. Then production of bilirubin. Bilirubin sent to the liver and secreted in the bile. Then liver, main functions are detoxification of metabolites, synthesis of proteins, production of biochemicals needed for digestion, regulation of body's metabolism, and energy storage. Then gallbladder stores bile and empties it into the duodenum, from where it partially eliminates via defecation. Then we have pancreas, which secretes insulin when sugar levels are high, secrete glucagon when sugar levels are low, insulin when sugar levels are high, and glucagon when sugar levels are low. Then it again also secretes pancreatic juice, which contains trypsogen, chymotrypsinogen, elastase, amylase, etc., into the duodenum, where it digests the chyme. Then we have small intestine. These are the parts of the small intestine: duodenum, jejunum, and ileum cecum. Okay. We'll get straightforward question: what are the parts of the small intestine or large intestine? Okay. So small intestine consists duodenum, jejunum, ileum, and cecum. Large intestine consists ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon, and sigmoid. Okay. The duodenum mixes chyme with bile, secretes bicarbonates to rise pH in order to activate pancreatic enzymes, which digest the jejunum absorbs small nutrients that have been previously digested in duodenum. Ileum absorbs vitamin B12, bile salts, and all necessary material that were not absorbed in jejunum. And cecum is a pouch that makes division between small and large intestine, connects ileum with ascending colon. So vitamin B12 absorbed in ileum. Okay? And in case of large intestine, we have ascending colon, which absorb water from content and move into the transverse colon by peristalsis. So in our human body, most of the water get absorbed by large intestine. The important question: most of the water get absorbed by large intestine, not small intestine. Okay, small intestine mostly absorb nutrients, and after that, water get absorbed by large intestine. Then transverse colon extends from to the splenic fracture, absorb water and salts. Descending colon extends from splenic fracture to the sigmoid colon, stores feces that will be emptied into the sigmoid colon. The sigmoid colon contracts to increase pressure inside the colon, causing the stool to move into the rectum. The last part is rectum, which holds the formed feces awaiting elimination via defecation. These are all the parts of digestive system and their functions. There are small parts. Okay. Next is nervous system. We have so many nerves in our body: ulnar nerve, medial nerve, radial nerve, brachial plexus. Okay, like this. The nervous system is a complex network of nerves and nerve cells, also known as neurons, that carry signals or messages to and from the brain and spinal cord to the different parts of the body. It is made up of central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Central nervous system, also known as CNS, is made up of the brain and spinal cord. The brain controls most of the body functions, including awareness, movement, sensation, thoughts, speech, and memory. The second part is peripheral nervous system, also known as PNS. Peripheral nervous system is a part of the nervous system outside of the central nervous system, and it is made up of nerves and ganglia that sends signals to and receive signal from the central nervous system. The brain, also known as encephalon, these are the different parts of lobes of the brain: cerebellum, pons, medulla oblongata, temporal lobe, frontal lobe, parietal lobe, occipital lobe. The brain is the most complex part of the human body. The major parts of the human brain are described as follows. The brainstem. The brainstem is composed of the medulla oblongata, okay, the pons viroli, and the midbrain. The diencephalon consists of thalamus and hypothalamus regions. The cerebrum or telencephalon is composed of the gray matter or cerebral cortex, okay, longitudinal fissure, and the right and left cerebral hemispheres. It is further subdivided into frontal, parietal, occipital, and temporal lobe. Frontal, parietal, occipital, and temporal lobe. This is cerebrum. Okay. Then next is cerebellum. The two partially separated hemispheres of the cerebellum are connected together by vermis. Okay. This is also important. Two partially separated hemispheres of cerebellum are connected together by vermis. The cerebellum is constituted primarily by white matter and a thin layer of gray matter on its surface, which is known as cerebellar cortex. The cerebrospinal fluid, also known as CSF, is colorless fluid that fills up the subarachnoid space and the ventricular system inside and around the spinal cord. And classification of nervous system, this is also a good flowchart. Central nervous system CNS consists brain and spinal cord. Okay. Then we have peripheral nervous system PNS consists of cranial and spinal nerves. Okay. Brings messages to and from the central nervous system to the rest of the body. And peripheral nervous system divided into two parts: somatic nervous system and anatomic nervous system. Somatic nervous system responsible for voluntary muscle movement, and autonomic nervous system responsible for involuntary actions such as heartbeat, pupil dilation, etc. And again, this autonomic nervous system divided into two parts: sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic nervous system responsible for fight or fight response. Okay, and then parasympathetic nervous system responsible for rest and relax actions such as digestion. Right. So this is classification of nervous system, and these are few functions of different parts of nervous system. This is sympathetic nervous system, and this is parasympathetic nervous system. Pupil dilated pupils and constricts pupil by parasympathetic system. Parasympathetic system slows heartbeat, okay, whereas sympathetic nervous system increases heartbeat, like this. Airways dilate brachial tubes, and parasympathetic nervous system airways constricts bronchial tubules. Parasympathetic nervous system, liver and gallbladder stimulate secretion, bile release, and sweat glands. In case of sympathetic nervous system, liver increases rate of converting glycogen to the glucose. Like this, our body works: sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. The next system is endocrine system, which consists pineal gland, pituitary gland, thyroid gland, adrenal gland, pancreas, ovaries, and testes. So the hormone created and released by the glands in your body, endocrine system, which controls nearly all the processes in your body. These chemicals help coordinate your body's functions from metabolism to growth and development, emotions, mood, sexual functions, and even sleep. Okay. The main glands make up of endocrine system. The hypothalamus, pituitary gland, pineal glands are in your brain. Okay, pituitary gland, pineal gland, and hypothalamus in your brain. Thyroid and parathyroid glands are in your neck area. Okay. Then thymus, in this picture, thymus is not present. Thymus is between your lungs. Okay, thymus present in your between your lungs, and the adrenals are on the top of your kidneys. Okay, adrenal gland present on the top of your kidney. This is also common question. Location of adrenal gland. Adrenal gland present on the top of the kidneys. Okay, pancreas is behind your stomach, and if you are a woman, you have ovaries, and if in the men's have testes. Okay, in pelvic region. The functions of endocrine system. These are glands and their hormones, targeted organs and functions. Pineal gland produce hormone melatonin. Okay? It controls biological clock. Pituitary gland secretes FSH or LH from ovaries and target ovaries. Okay, and it controls menstrual cycle. Then ADH, which targets kidneys for osmoregulation. Then growth hormones targeted many organs for growth and division. Oxytocin targeted uterus for birth contractions, and prolactin targeted breast tissue for milk production. These are all hormones secreted by pituitary gland. Okay. Then thyroid gland produces thyroxine, which targets liver. The function is metabolism. Okay. Then adrenal gland secretes adrenaline and cortisol. Okay. Then pancreas secrete insulin and glucagon and target liver to maintain blood sugar levels. Then ovaries secretes estrogen and progesterone and target uterus for menstrual cycle. And testes produces testosterone, targeted many organs which produce male characteristics. These are all glands of endocrine system and their hormones and functions. What is difference between nervous system and endocrine system? The nervous system consists neurons which release neurotransmitters, whereas endocrine system contains cells which releases hormones. The neurotransmitter acts on specific cell right next to it, whereas hormones travel to another nearby cell or act on cell in another part of the neurotransmitters have their effects within milliseconds, whereas hormones take minutes or days to have their effects. The effects of neurotransmitters are short-lived, whereas effect of hormones can last hours, days, or years. Nervous system performs short-term crisis management, whereas endocrine system regulates long-term ongoing metabolic functions. Neurotransmitters acts on specific cell right next to it. This is the already done. Hormone can travel to the another nearby cell, or it can act on another part of the. This is difference between nervous system and endocrine system. Next is reproductive system. Just a minute. So this is female reproductive system and this is male reproductive system. The female reproductive system consists uterus, fallopian tubes. Okay. ovaries, endometrium, vagina, cervix, whereas male reproductive system consists penis, urethra, then testes, vas deferens, seminal vesicles, prostate gland, one. So the reproductive system enables the production of offspring. The male reproductive system is made up of the testes, scrotum, penis, vas deferens. Vas deferens is the passageway for sperms, and the prostate. The female reproductive system is made up of ovaries, fallopian tube, uterus, and vagina. The mammary glands are considered accessory organs of female reproductive system. Okay. Functions of the reproductive system. The female reproductive system perform following functions. Produce eggs necessary for reproduction called ova. Ovum is the singular or oocytes. Incubates and nourish a fertilized egg until it is fully developed and produce female sex hormone that maintain the reproductive cycle. And male reproductive system perform following functions. Produces, maintains and transports sperms and protective fluid. Protective fluid is called semen. Discharge sperms within the female reproductive tract during intercourse and produces and secretes male sex hormone responsible for maintaining the male reproductive system. Next is urinary system. It consists of two kidneys, right, and then adrenal gland, bladder, urethra. Kidneys, bladder, urethra, and ureter are main parts of the urinary system. The urinary system's function is to filter blood and create urine as a waste byproduct. The main organs in urinary system are two kidneys, which are blood filtering organs, two ureters, which are ducts that connects kidneys to the bladder, and a bladder, which is an organ that holds pee. This is bladder. Two sphincter muscles, which helps keep urine from leaking by closing tightly around the opening of the bladder. And a urethra, the tube connects to the bladder that allows pee to leave your body. Urinary system made up of two kidneys, two ureter, one bladder, two sphincter muscles, and urethra. Right kidney is slightly at the lower position than left kidney, as it has to accommodate liver. This is also a common question. Right kidney is slightly at the lower position than left kidney, as it has to accommodate liver. The functions of urinary system: elimination of liquid waste called urea and keep chemicals such as potassium, sodium, and water in balance. Filtering blood, separating the toxins you don't need from your nutrient you need. Storing and carrying pee out of your body, blood pressure regulation. And the production of erythropoietin, which controls red blood cell production in the bone marrow. And kidneys also regulate the acid-base balance and conserve fluids. These are all functions of urinary system. Next system is integumentary system. This is structure of our skin. Epidermis is the outer layer, this is the middle layer, and inner layer is called hypodermis. Okay. Also we have different nerves, blood vessels, okay, sweat glands, sebaceous glands, and hairs. So the skin is the biggest organ of the body. This is also common question. Biggest organ in our body is skin. Okay, please make a note of it. We'll get straightforward question on this point. Which is the largest organ in our body? If you have skin option there, you have to select skin. The integumentary system includes the epidermis, dermis, hypodermis. Hypodermis also known as subcutaneous tissue, and associated glands, hairs and nails. This is nail anatomy and this is hair anatomy. You can see 3 edges of nail. Nail bed is there. Okay. And parts of nail is lunula, nail body, cuticle, nail root, and again epidermis, dermis, and bone of fingertip. And hair anatomy, the outer part of the hair is hair shaft, and inner part is called hair root. Okay. The functions of integumentary system. First, some important function is Protection. The skin and hair provide a barrier against harmful substances, ultraviolet radiation from the sun, and temperature extremes. Sensation. The skin contains nerve endings that detects touch, pressure, pain, heat, and cold. The next function is temperature regulation. The skin can sweat and widen blood vessel to regulate the body temperature. Waste excretion. The skin eliminates some waste through sweat. And vitamin D production. When exposed to UV light from the sun, the skin produces vitamin D, which is important for bone health. So that is the reason why whenever we go for any pain, okay, most of the time doctor will ask you to do vitamin D test, because without, if you have lower quantity of vitamin D, there is no use of or absorption of vitamin D necessary, and you will get it from UV light from sun. Next is musculoskeletal system. This is skeletal system and this is muscular system. Okay, we have different so many bones: frontal lobe, frontal temporal orbit, mandible, then clavicle bone, rib bones, humerus, radius ulna. In the arm, humerus and radius ulna. In the legs, femur, tibia, fibula. Femur is largest bone in our body. This is also common question. Femur is the largest bone in our body, whereas steps, which is present in ear, is the smallest bone in our body. This is common question, in favorite question of interview.
Okay.
Femur is the largest bone and steps in the smallest bone in our body. So the musculoskeletal system is made up of two systems: skeletal system and muscular system. Skeletal system protects the body and give it its shape and form. It is made up of bones, joints, ligaments. Ligaments means fibers that connects bone to the another bone. Okay? Bone to bone connected by. Then also we have tendons. Tendons are the fibers that connects muscle to the bone. This is also common. They can ask what is ligament or who connects bones to the bones or muscles to the bones. We'll get straightforward question. So ligaments connects bones to the bone, whereas tendons connects muscles to the bone. And cartilage is also part of skeletal system. And there are 270 bones at the birth and 206 in adults. This is also common question. How many bones present in human body? The answer is 206 bones present in human body. Okay. Please make a note of it whenever I say this is important, that is important. Okay.
Yes.
So 206 total bones present in our body, and whenever in newborn 270 bones, and whenever the growth happens, few bones get fused, like bones in skull and all. Because of that, only 206 bones present in adults. The muscular system, it enables the body to move. It is made up of muscles, tendons, ligaments, and cartilage. So this is classification of bones, their features, functions, and examples. So the long bones are cylinder-like shape, longer than it is wide. Function is leverage, and examples are femur, tibia, fibula, metatarsal, humerus, ulna, radius, metacarpus, and phalanges. Short bones are cube-like shape, approximately equal to length, width, and thickness. Provide stability, support while allowing for some motion. And examples are carpals and tarsals. Then flat bones are thin and curved. Okay? Points of attachment for muscles, protectors of internal organs. Sternum, scapulae, cranial bones are the examples of bones. Irregular bone. Irregular bones are complex in shape. That's why the name irregular bone, which protects internal organs like vertebra and facial bones are the examples of irregular bones. Sesamoid bones are small and round, embedded in tendons, okay, and protects tendons from compressive forces. An example is patella. Patella is the example of sigmoid bone. Then classification of joints, structural class, characteristics, types, and mobility. Fibrous joint, bones united by collagen fibers. And types are suture joints, which are immobile. Okay. And then synedesmosis, which are slightly movable, and gymphosis is immobile. Cartilaginous joints characteristics are bone ends united by cartilage. Synchondrosis, or also known as hyaline, okay, these are immobile. Symphysis, fibrocartilage, these are slightly movable. And next is synovial joints, the bone ends covered with articular cartilage and enclosed within a capsule line with a synovial membrane. And examples are types are plain joint, hinge joint, pivot joint, condyloid, saddle, ball and socket. These are the types of synovial joints, and these are freely movable. Okay, which depends on joint design. These are types of muscle in human body. Type of muscle, main features, location, and type of cells. So skeletal muscles made up of fibers, striated, tubular, and multinucleated. Okay, these are voluntarily in action and usually attaches to the skeleton. That's why name skeletal muscle. Okay, you can see here. Smooth muscles are non-striated, spindle shaped. Okay, non-striated, spindle shaped, and unilocular. These are involuntary in function and usually covering walls of the internal organs. Whereas cardiac muscles are fibers made up of fibers, striated fibers, branched and uninucleated. Striated, uninucleated, branched fibers are there, and these are also involuntary in function and only covering walls of heart. Classification of muscles. So this session tomorrow finished. Bye bye. Take care.
Okay,
Go
thank you.
through these points which I discussed today.
Yes, yes.
It is better if you go through your book for the same points. You will get each and everything, anatomy or each and every body part in the book also.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Bye bye.
This is ICD-10 CM only, is it?
Yeah. In CPT also you will get each and everything.
Okay, I will.
And highlight the main terms which I say important in your book.
Oh, okay, sure.
In preparing for examination.
Sure.
Whenever you go through your book, use pencil and highlighter to highlight terms. This is your own books.
Sure.
You have brought your own books, right?